What's up, everybody? It's time for IMHO. He's Michael Wallace. I'm Lane Whitaker. Each week we sit here and we talk about the NBA and what's happening around the league, and things are actually happening around the league now. Mike, it sounds like we might be getting closer to a return to action. But the question is, how do we return to action? What's the format? What are we going to do? What do you think the proper way of getting back to action? And do we play out the season? Do we not? Do we skip to the playoffs? What do we do? What do you think?
Man, I think what I don't want to happen is I don't want the NBA, which is full of smart executives and smart analysts and all of those people in that front offices across the league, the ownerships, the board of governors, Adam Silver's office. Please don't overthink this. Please do not overthink it and try to throw, all of these ideas up against the wall and try to do the most popular thing, because one thing is certain. You're not going to please everyone.
Right.
Go straight to the playoffs. Take your 8 teams in the East, 8 teams in the West. Simplify it. Only have 16 teams in that campus city in Orlando, and go straight into your playoffs from that perspective. Yes, some teams are going to be upset. Some big market teams and big name superstars aren't going to like it, but so be it. You've had 75% of the season to decide where you were. This was not ideal by any stretch, and you just pick up the pieces where you can and keep the integrity intact of what you've built so far.
This is one of those topics on which you and I agree. I'm 100% with you. Like, why don't we just start the playoffs right away? If we have to finish out the regular season, then let's finish the regular season. But I don't like these ideas you're hearing thrown around of like a World Cup style group stage. No. It also feels like, we're saying, well, maybe we do something for the bottom of the stand. Like, people want to draw like this arbitrary line across the standings and say these teams are in, these teams have to play their way in. If we're going to play it, let's play it. Let's play out the whole season. Let's finish the thing out. I've seen people say, well, there should be a play-in tournament. We had a play-in tournament. It was the regular season. We played it. We played 60-something games. So we know which teams are at the top 8 and which teams didn't make it. And I think since we know that, why don't we just keep going and let's just start the playoffs right now and see what happens.
Well, Lane, we know what this is about. We know what this is about, particularly in the West. Nobody's raising a stink over, trying to seed it 7 through 12 in the East because, again, Chicago really shouldn't be there. Washington has kind of thrown their season to next year because of the injuries. But this is about your number 1 overall pick, Zion Williamson, being still within striking distance with New Orleans. They were playing pretty well. This is about Damian Lillard, a perennial all-star who has friends in the media, obviously, who can sort of not necessarily carry his water, but make his point, go out there and push it. You got San Antonio, a 5-time NBA champion right there. So I understand why you're trying to make these guys have a little bit more say. But at the end of the day, your standings there was integrity in your standings, and I think there's integrity moving forward, keeping it as much intact as you can.
The NBA regular season is so long, and people say, well, the games don't matter. Well, let's say that they matter. This shows that the regular season matters. Yeah. If you're going to go with the regular season standings and play from what the regular season decided. The other thing you mentioned, Mike, with all these other teams, with Zion being healthy and all this other stuff, who else is healthy right now? The Memphis Grizzlies.
Yeah.
The 8 seed who were trending the right way as the season went along, and now they're going to have everybody back and healthy. And I don't know. We'll see what happens. I mean, I guess the good point of all this is that we're actually talking about basketball again.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But something is happening.
Yeah, that's amazing, and that's exciting for all of us. Hey, that's our opinions. We'll be back next week with more. You can find out more on grindcitymedia.com and all our social channels. And we'll see you next week.